Okay, the last trend, hold on, because you are going to freak. And some of you are gonna be like, I am not going there again. Hi guys, and welcome to the House of Valentina. I'm Valentina, and today we are talking about trends that I'm seeing in interior design popping up in all my favorite magazines from Europe. So a little backstory for those of you that maybe are popping in for the first time. We run a real estate design business here in Atlanta, but we lived in Europe for about a decade, raised our kids abroad, and moved back to Atlanta about 5 years ago. So I still have my nose regularly stuck in those European trend magazines. And I really like to see what's happening there because a lot of times we'll end up seeing it in the US and other parts of the world. So I think it's a really fun tool. If you don't like these trends, it's okay to say that. I am not clickbaiting you, okay? Some of these trends are shocking. When I'm looking at them, I'm like, is that really coming into style? Am I really gonna want that? You can decide, and it's okay for you not to love them. It's okay for you not to want to incorporate them into your home. I think some of these you will want to incorporate and you'll be excited about, and some, yeah, wow, yeah. So make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, and let us know in the comments which one of these you are most excited about and which one you're like, absolutely not. Without further ado, let's jump in. Trends are such a funny thing, aren't they? People get so bent out of shape so often about trends. And I like trends because I think that they tell us a lot about who we are, about our generation. It says a lot about what we want. So I'm not really afraid of trends. Now, these are pretty extreme. Because we lived in Europe for so long, I got very accustomed to having magazines. I don't even want to admit this, but I still have stacks and stacks and stacks of design magazines from Europe because I was afraid when we moved back that I wouldn't have access like I did while we were over there. But nowadays we have Instagram, and you can get on Instagram and you can see a lot of this stuff, which is where a lot of the photos are going to be coming from today. They are taken literally from the latest issues of these magazines we've got the Netherlands, we've got Spain, France, Belgium, there's Italy, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, did I already say that? I was really trying to see if these trends were something that was only going to be specific to maybe Scandinavia. Am I seeing it everywhere? So what I figured is that I'm going to give you the ones today that seem to be hitting all of Europe. They're ones that are pretty big trends that I think will actually make it across the water or around. It just depends on where you are. I think it should be fun today to decide which one of these you are, and yeah, let's jump into the trends, okay? First up, we have the triangle. Now, can a shape be a trend? Well, actually, it really can be. The truth of the matter is that a shape really does come in and out of style, especially when it's the triangle. I think that the triangle is a shape that so many of us associated with the 80s. It was really, really popular back then. We associated a lot of times with contemporary design, and the triangle is suddenly a shape that we are seeing popping up on a lot of different things. I think that this is a trend that you could actually have quite a bit of fun playing with it. You may not want to change every single table out in your house, but to incorporate this style into your home, you might really enjoy to have maybe one of those triangular lamps. You might even enjoy the triangular table, but you don't have to necessarily change everything in your house. A really fun way to bring this trend into your home would also be to think about sculptures. This is something you could add into your bookshelves, on your console tables, maybe your coffee table. I think it can actually be quite a lot of fun to bring something abstract, something that's a little bit contemporary into any kind of decor. You can have something really traditional and then have a piece of art like that, and it just breaks it up. I think that it's really cool. You guys can let me know what you think, but I've definitely been looking at it and trying to decide whether it was something that I would want to include in my own home or something that I would be recommending to my clients. I think that this trend is just just beginning to hit, and it's one that we're going to be seeing a lot more of. Wow, number 2 is so shocking. I'm still like, is this really happening? Colored kitchens are so on trend right now in pretty much every country that I've been looking at in Europe. I mean, not just like a dark brown. No, we're talking color. Bright pink, mint green, bright blue, yellow, you name it, they're using it on the kitchen cabinets. They're doing it in the bathrooms as well, and it is so shocking. I sat here for so long and thought, is there any realm in which I would actually use this trend in my own home, first of all? And I just, maybe I would do a cabinet in a color, but I mean, you guys know me. I like neutrals. I probably would never do that. I would be more likely to do a neutral cabinet and put color on the countertop, because the cabinets are so permanent and they're so expensive. Now, if you want to jump onto this trend, I think some of my trendy clients would actually jump on this trend. Those that want something that's fresh, something that pops, something that's really just fun and it's different, I can absolutely see. I'm thinking of different clients, I'm like, yeah, they would totally do this trend. Oh, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear your comments. You haven't even written them. I can hear them coming out of your head. I know, you're like, never, 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 never. Then again, I said that about block-heeled shoes, and I wear them almost every day of the week, so you never know. I was thinking about my grandmother's house and the bathrooms and the pink toilets and then the green toilet and the blue toilet, and how every room had a different color. And you know, it makes sense that we go from the 90s, next will be the 80s, and then we'll maybe head to the 70s. And we just have to try it all. We want something different. We want something that comes and it's fresh and alive, and colored cabinets. Who would have thought that would actually be a thing? So you guys can let me know if this is a never. I'm like, don't say never. Don't do that. Don't tell the internet. Never. You're gonna be putting it into your house next week. I'm like, okay, I can't imagine that I would ever say yes to this. I'll let it be. This next trend is maybe slightly less shocking. It's maybe a little bit more palatable. The next one is just rounded edges. Let's just call it that. It's rounded edges. Seeing it on mirrors, on tables, on furniture, seeing it on sofas and beds, and I personally really like this trend. I'm starting to see the curved sofas hit mainstream CB2. Our house, Crate and Barrel has it, Pottery Barn, everybody's got the curved furniture, and that's kind of what happens, right? You say, no way, never, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that looks really good. I think a lot of it is that it does get lost in translation, and when we're able to translate a trend into our own home and into our own style, then we're able to really adapt it and bring it in, and it feels like ours now. And I think that this rounded one is really easy to do. I really like the rounded tables. I think that adds a lot of interest. It makes the room feel, you know what it does? It adds a lot of flow to a space when something has a rounded edge like that. And I'm not talking about circular, just rounded edges. So it could maybe be rectangular with rounded edges. That's more of what we're talking about than everything being round, because obviously circles have been around for a while. Yeah, we all know that exists. That has existed for a very long time. We're not talking about that. That's definitely forever. But I think it can be fun if you want something that just breaks your space up and makes it just a little bit more interesting. I mean, I don't want to be boring. I don't want my house to feel too confined in the ideas. I like the idea of being open-minded and trying something different and seeing how it feels. So I would look at the coffee tables, I'd look at the side tables. You could also bring this trend in through, again, like a mirror or maybe some art pieces. You could also check out those curved sofas that are so pretty. I am saving the most shocking for last, just so you know. The most shocking I am saving for last, because your mind may be simultaneously stunned, shocked, and horrified all in the same moment. But the last one that we're going with, I don't know. I think my husband actually will be thrilled with it. But for this one's a little bit, it is pretty shocking. Color has been in for a while, and it seemed like we were on that trajectory prior to the pandemic. We've actually talked about this before when we talked about trends that are post-pandemic and what we're kind of expecting. Color was supposed to be in before now. It was supposed to have already hit here. We were supposed to already be loving it. And then the pandemic hit, and I think so many of us were like, I don't want anything different. I want something familiar. I want something that calms me. But now we're starting to see that it's actually starting to kind of go back to its cycle. Color is still coming back. At least the Europeans seem to be all in. I don't know. I don't think I will be trying this trend. I tried, actually, you guys would laugh, okay? So sometimes I don't tell you when I try everything because I don't actually want you to think I'm a total freak. But at one point, my husband was like, hey, let's paint the powder room blue. And I was like, okay, let's try it. Highly experimental. Yeah, that's me. So I tried painting a little bit of blue on the wall in there behind the door, and I hate it so much. I don't like color on my walls. So Europe is pushing color. It's not my thing. I think that it can be really beautiful, and I think that you can use this trend. I mean, is color really trend? It's just the use of it, I think. There's so much of it that I feel like, especially for Europeans who tend to be pretty safe and they use a lot of neutrals, when all of their magazines are full of color, then I think maybe it just feels like, yeah, we need to pay attention to this. They're telling us that we're gonna want color everywhere, on our walls, on our furniture, on everything we got. It's gonna be all colorful. I think that we can take this trend and translate it to our own personal style. So if you have a home that's more traditional, you probably are already seeing a lot of color coming in. And I think that's kind of cool. Personally, my style edges more towards something that's a little bit more modern and a little bit more contemporary. So I would incorporate this trend by maybe just bringing in an accent piece of furniture. And that may be an easier route for you as well. Think about an accent piece of furniture like a chair. Or you could also do colorful curtains. You could also bring in colorful accessories. Places like Target and Pottery Barn, you guys know I love CB2. These places, they really give you a lot of affordable accessories. So you're able to bring in these trends without totally busting your budget. And I think that that's really important because some trends feel like they're trends that are gonna stick around for a really long time, and others are like, this is here today, it's gone within a year. Okay, my battery just died on the camera. It was like, whoa, this one is so big, it's gonna blow your mind. And then the camera just died. I was like, wow, that is some serious timing. So, okay, the last trend, hold on, because you are going to freak. And some of you are gonna be like, I'm not going there again. I've been there, I'm not doing it again. That's what I said. When the 90s started to become popular, I was like, I have lived through the 90s, I have gotten rid of the 90s, and I am not bringing the 90s back. And then I bought my first pair of mom jeans, and I'm like, stop it, woman, what are you doing? Seriously. So, okay, so I haven't even told you yet. I know. It's because I don't want you, just be sitting down, okay? Just be sitting down. Do you wanna know, you guys are gonna die, okay? Here we go. The biggest trend that I'm seeing in Europe right now that is the most shocking, that I hope to God I do not want, I hope does not become mainstream, and that is the 80s. I am telling you, the 80s are back. They are in full swing. I've been noticing this for a while, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm in total denial. My husband has so much affection for the 80s, and there are a lot of great things that happened in the 80s, but from a decor perspective, I kind of feel like it was really one of the ugliest times ever for interiors. I really just hate this trend. I really don't like it. Now, am I willing to admit that there's a possibility that somewhere down the road, I'll think it's the greatest thing that's ever existed and I'll be including it in everything? Yes. I am honest enough with myself and the world to admit that I am prone to adapting pretty quickly when I see something. I just really don't like this trend. I don't like that sort of, that look. I really just don't like that look on upholstery. I don't like all of the colors, the acidic colors, the neons, the shapes that are so harsh. It's just not something that I really want. And I really just, I don't want it. I don't want it to come back. I don't want it to come around. I really just don't want it. I know in the last video, which so many of you, thank you so much for all the nice comments. The last video we were talking about trends that are going out. Yeah, you guys are really sweet, but you probably remember my husband mentioning Z Cavariccis. Well, that's because the 80s are making a comeback and they are coming hard and fast. And I think that this is an opportunity to ask yourself, is there any part of this trend that I want back in my home? Or am I gonna adamantly put my foot down and say, absolutely not? I personally have yet to see anything that made me want to include this in my own home. I don't like it. I don't like the colors. I don't like those shapes. I just don't identify with it. And I would never take that away from another person, because if I came to your house and you had 80s everywhere, I would enjoy it with you. I really would. That's just who I am. I enjoy so many different styles, and I enjoy being a part of your homes and seeing what you're doing, and I think that is a lot of fun. But I know that most of you are probably gonna agree with me that no, we're just not gonna bring the 80s back. I don't know. We will see, we will see. So if you are watching this video because you are a trend setter, then just go grab the 80s and just start bringing it back. I don't know, you guys let me know. What I think would be really interesting to hear from you guys from all different parts of the world, how you feel about the return of the 80s. That I am very curious about. I hope that today's video has just been a lot of good fun for you, and I hope that it will just inspire you to really look at yourself and what is offered out there and decide what makes you feel good in your home. What styles do you really enjoy? What of these today really spoke to you and which ones don't, and answer why? Because that will really help you to identify your personal style. And that is the greatest thing that you could do, because once you really hone into what you really like, it makes decisions so much easier. You're able to look at something and say, there's no way, or maybe. If it came in the right color, maybe. But I think that self-exploration is such a moment of growth in your life, and it will really help you to create a home that feels like your home. It's unique to you, and it really just taps into those unique little aspects of who you are, and just really, I don't know, there's just something about a house that so clearly becomes somebody, and I think that's really cool. So that's what we want from you, is to have a home that just really feels like that. It feels like your home. So yeah, so thank you so much for stopping by. Well, I hope we haven't shocked you too much. We hope we'll get to see you in the next video that we put out. Make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out. Give the video a thumbs up and leave us a comment. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.